Hello everyone, Daniel Gamble again, and this is another episode of Things You Thought the Bible Said, but it doesn't. This will be a very important episode. It could very easily, though we're going to try to keep it from being, one of the longest of the episodes, considering all the peripheral issues which will arise after the statement is made. For the most part, I'm just going to be blunt with it and give you the scriptures, and then you're just going to have to figure out how to justify it all with your personal theological positions, although the Bible should be at the center of those positions. The statement in question is not found in the Bible, but rather it is a conclusion that people make and then try to use the Bible to prove the statement. The statement is this: God's will is not always done. Growing up, when I was taught this, the passage of 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 9 would be the most popular evidence that was brought up as proof of the statement. They would say something to the effect of, God is not willing that any should perish. But since people are obviously perishing, that means God's will is not always done. However, the context of this verse is explained in detail in part 2 of the teaching videos I did on the issue of universalism. And in that, it's made clear that there really is not a problem here at all. I'll link to that video in the description, but Peter is writing to the elect about the elect here. He is plainly saying that God is putting up with the wickedness in this world for so long, only because he is waiting for the last of his sheep to be brought into God's fold before he rains down judgment upon the world that they justly deserve. Besides all that, the greatest evidence that God's will is actually always done is not found in the interpretation of a passage, but in the scriptures themselves. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 46, verse number 9 through 10. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times, things not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. Or we could go to Job chapter 42, verse number 2, wherein it says, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Undoubtedly, the question will arise, or the accusation. You mean to tell me that it's God's will for a little child to get raped and murdered? Now, I'm sorry, but such a statement illustrates total ignorance when it comes to God's preceptive will, his permissive will, and his sovereign decretive will. And until you understand those things, you really shouldn't be making any kind of declarative statements on the matter. But bluntly put, though, God has a plan that will be fulfilled. God has the power to intervene, and times he does intervene and other times he doesn't. And if God does not intervene and prevent something terrible from happening, then God is permitting it because it is necessary for his ultimate plan and will to be fulfilled. We're told in Romans 8 that God works all things for the good of his people, and we're told that God always does what's just and what is right. We may not understand it. We may not even agree with it, but his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts, but his will is always done. I'll leave you with one last passage upon which to ponder, Isaiah 45 and 7. God says, I form light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things. Now, I know there's a whole lot more to say on the subject, but that's a good starting place for you. That's all the time we have today. We'll see you next time. Remember, search the Scriptures for yourselves. Search it, and you'll find the answer you're looking for. God bless.